Welcome to the Owen and Baru's barbecue. Today we are serving up a rack of baby back Rancor ribs, washed down with some boba tea, served up to peak perfection with my two other co-host chefs, Chris and Nick.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. My name's
that was kind of a moment though where
wait, before one more thing.
Yeah.
Total spoilers for the entire book of Boba Fett. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen the show, then why?
That's weird.
So,
If you're listening to us and you haven't watched all of this series, like what are you doing?
you cut yourself there.
I caught myself. This is not Ramblecast After Dark. This is this is Owen and Bruce. We're a clean podcast. We're a family.
We try to be a little
clean-ish. Yeah.
cleanish.
Cleaner, I should say, cleaner than Ramblecast. But yeah, why are you here? If you haven't seen it, why are you here? But anyways,
we did get a few people, not Owen and Brew fans necessarily, but just Jay and Jack fans. Were like, "Is anyone going to cover Book of Boba Fett?" I was like, "Well, we do have a Star Wars podcast." I mean,
but the truth be told, we kind of weren't really up on it.
We weren't motivated to do it.
We were not excited about it.
Not motivated to do like a recap show for sure.
I think the first 4 episodes we were all kind of like, why would we want to rewatch them?
Right.
But yeah, so like the first 4 episodes, my recap was 2 middle fingers. Like I legitimately didn't want to talk about it. Like I was upset.
Yeah. I think I only watched the first 4 episodes just the one time. Whereas in episodes 5 and 6, I easily watched 3 times each. It's like, oh yeah, these are good.
Yep.
And Chris, your assessment, why do I want to watch a middle-aged man have night terrors in a bathtub? Still rings true.
That was my how I described the show. It wasn't middle age. It was just I actually used a little bit more colorful language on our other.
You
podcasts.
did. I was trying to
it was. I think I says, why do I want to watch this old F having nightmares while in his bathtub? Which legit was like the first 3-4 episodes of this series.
And I've said this on the RCAD. If you haven't listened to that show, or you can always check that out because we do talk about other things, lots of other things, very explicit, as well as Book of Boba Fett on there. So if you want all of the colorful language that we used, but I still go back to still go back to why am I seeing Boba Fett in his underwear more than Luke Skywalker? Not that I want to see Luke Skywalker more. But I'm just saying, like, the ratio is now askew where I've seen.
You want to see current Luke Skywalker in his underwear?
No, just the CGI. That's the CGI one.
70-something-year-old man, just
But
just
here's
the CGI.
Here's the deal, though. Like, I mean, when this whole thing started, I mean, we going back 6-7 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
When Book of Boba Fett started, I remember the premiere episode came out, and I was excited for it. I was like super pumped.
Yeah, it was the first Star Wars we had in a while.
It was, and then when the episode started, it was a complete, like word for word, syllable by syllable reenactment of Patton Oswalt's like introduction to what it should have been from Community.
On Parks and Rec.
Parks
and Rec. It was. Yeah. Word for word stage direction from Patton Oswalt, or whomever wrote that episode.
Except maybe even going back to something I think Nick or maybe we talked about though. Why didn't we see him in the Sarlacc more? Like I thought it'd be more of a fight. Like it was just kind of
like an afterthought. Like he's there and he gets out and then you're done. And you're like, well, that was disappointing after all of the speculation for 40 years almost.
Right.
About this, it should have been so much, and then it didn't make even logical sense. Like the fact that there's a stormtrooper down there right next to him. You're like, well, there were no stormtroopers there. Why
was there a stormtrooper there?
I assumed that he was going out looking for droids and fell in.
Yeah, that's true. So, but
but then how does he have oxygen?
It would have been made better. It would have been made better if it was what's his name, Winslow, the voice actor from Spaceballs. We ain't found.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like right next to him. There's a big, huge, giant pick. So
it'd been
awesome. Yeah,
but you're right. You're right, though, Matt. Like, why would he still have oxygen after 5 to 7 years or whatever? It's like, okay. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about the Boba Fett that I can nitpick, like to death, because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense logically about the show.
And we haven't talked formally, the three of us, about the the show's final, but to go
No.
and we will get to that, but to kind of go back to those first 4 episodes real quick, looking now at the last episode, I feel cheated about the one thing I was kind of hoping we would get, because you always go in with your hopes,
Yeah.
If you don't get some things, that's fine. Like I wanted to see Boba Fett Prime, kicking butt, shooting IG-88, taking down Bosk, battling some of these classic bounty hunters. I think every Star Wars Empire fan wants that. We want to see those, those beings. Like, let's see them out there, or the flashbacks.
100% with you on that.
and-
I mean, and I think though. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway,
And one thing that they teased from like the first minute of the first episode was young Boba.
Mm.
And I think had we seen young Boba with a certain character that surprise entrances later on in the show, perhaps that whole storyline could have actually pulled together. We don't need much. We can just do flashes of this Cad Bane helping him as a youngster.
I gotta say though, Cad Bane's arc was far too short.
Far too short. Yeah,
Like-
I was.
So if you would have seen him in some type of flashback as with young Boba, and I'm not saying we have to have a whole episode of young Boba. That's
Yeah.
not what I want. I just want the breadcrumbs, because apparently there was a whole deleted Clone Wars story with Cad Bane taking down Boba, right? Giving him the
yeah.
in the helmet. So there's a whole lore to this that was kind of, that I think that could have happened, or we could have seen the live action version
Well,
of that.
I'll make a prediction
Okay.
and say that they don't create a character with like Cad Bane, right? They don't bring Cad Bane into the Star Wars live action series for 1.25 episodes. They don't do it. It's not smart.
A lot of people speculating this. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm my prediction is that we're gonna get, and God, I hope this is true. I really, yes, I did just censor myself again. I really, really hope that we and we'll get to this probably a little bit later in the episode tonight, but they did tease with a poster for the Obi-Wan series, and I can only hope that. I mean, Obi-Wan is my only hope, but I do hope that show has a significant, if not primary, flashbacks to the Clone Wars. And if that's the case, you can totally see the reemergence of Cad Bane coming back and being a part of that story.
That's interesting. Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that.
Or even like the Clone Wars /
Rebels.
Oh,
like,
no,
ish
for sure. And I mean, it
timeline,
makes
you know what I mean?
sense since we do know that we're going to get,
Another blue-skinned individual.
well, I was going to say Hayden
Perhaps.
Christensen in the
Yeah,
Kenobi series.
Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to bring in him, at least you're going to see him without his mask on, I would think.
Yeah.
Or a flashback.
True.
But yeah, so I mean, going back to, I mean,
I'll be honest with you. Like I was piss and vinegar over the first 4 episodes. Like I was pissed. I got like this. Like it turned into my new manifest. Like I was like hate watching the show. You know what I mean? And I was really pissed about it. I mean, being honest, like I was actually really mad because I made the joke about, okay, I don't want to come watch this old geezer having nightmares in a bathtub, which is absolutely true. But like, it's the idea that like Boba Fett, who is like he was like the biggest like cult phenomenon character that didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he had no presence whatsoever in Star Wars lore, other than a couple of lines from Han Solo and some action points from Return of the Jedi. But he has such a cult following that is like immeasurable for a character that never really existed on screen. And he's this badass, like fearsome bounty hunter. And what I really wanted out of this was the last 20 minutes of this series to be the entirety of the series of how awesome Boba Fett actually was. Like, and I did feel a little bit justified going in after watching the mid watch of the finale, really, when
when it was Mando and Boba back to back, like almost like an Avengers type scene of like them fighting off all the fish face guys, whatever I forgot
The Pikes. Yeah.
The Pikes, thank you. And like he actually does this weird like knee slapper like move where like something flies out of his knee and shoots
the knee rockets.
The knee rockets.
Yeah, the knee rockets. I'm like, that's awesome. Like this is what we needed in episode 2 or 1, not like a 15-minute music montage of him whittling a stick. Like that was like my biggest pet peeve. But you did get a little bit of justification for that stick in a lot.
And that's
just a bit.
That was one of my complaints with this last episode too. Is that you built up all this Tusken stuff in the first 4 episodes, and there was no payoff whatsoever.
Zero.
And so
just the gaffy stick.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. So when you get to the actual duel with Cad Bane, and you think like that Boba's not going to die there,
right?
But that's what he's going to use. He's going to use the gaffy stick. There's no kind of like voiceover or a quick little like 2-second flashback to like use the gaffy stick. Something to let the audience know like he remembers what all that was for. It just like he just does it, and you're like, oh, like that was to me. It wasn't a good payoff.
You didn't like the payoff. See, I liked the fact that he
I did
the gaffy stick.
I liked it that they did.
I thought it was cheap.
It was just. Yeah,
it wasn't enough. The end did not justify the means.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I will agree with you on that, and by no means am I defending anything this show has done, because I think I told you guys several times, especially through episodes 8, 5, and 6, I was like, this book makes no sense. It's more like a magazine with like an article about life on
it's like Teen USA magazine or
but it's like you're getting a full interview with Boba Fett when really all you needed was the strong silent type. And hasn't the Mandalorian usurped Boba Fett and being the strong silent type?
Yeah.
No doubt.
There's more fans of the Mandalorian, I guarantee it, than there is of Boba Fett now.
Of course.
Mandalorian, like when he shows up in episode 5, The Return of the Mandalorian, or chapter 5, his whole entrance.
Just say episode 5.
And that's why, like, I said to you guys, like, after like episode 3,
the best.
After the 3rd chapter, or whatever, is like, that was my biggest complaint, was that they're trying to make Boba Fett likable, and that's where they went wrong. You couldn't have done that.
No,
it should have.
Right.
Nope.
It should have started off like the Starlight Pit's fine. Like, that's where it should have started. But then it should have been something, him almost returning to his roots, like not learning from anything because he hasn't known anything. And
which happens for like a split second in the final, right? Because when he sends out the Twi'lek out with his demands,
right?
And you know, like, okay, he's sending him out the demands. There's gonna be something clever about this, right? And then he goes, and I really want it to be like, so like a GFY Monday episode, right? Like of like, hey, no, F yourself. We're coming out here and we're fighting. Let's go. That was it. That was the only moment.
I wanted it to be more than just nothing. I wanted him to say nothing. I wanted it to be more like something that could really insult them to where they actually just shoot him.
Yeah,
so bad.
I wanted yes, and I feel like the body count of the yes, it's great. They're introducing these characters because we can see them again in future episodes on Tatooine. Okay, fine, but we need some actual blood on the sand, right? So that guy, him dying, I think would have been hilarious, and also everybody would have been like, yes, the annoying Twi'lek died, right? He
sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's a horrible character.
And then the Gamorreans, they go down. Sorry, we're just
they went down so badly. So they were created poorly and killed equally poorly.
Yes. Yes. And it was weird because when you look at Return of the Jedi Gamorreans, like what, those ones are just fat and a darker green color, and these are skinnier and limier green. Yeah. And by the way, try to get a green that's different than Hulk 80s green, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
not like powder green. But it's funny too, like because you mentioned this whole, we're talking about Tatooine for a hot second, right? So like I saw a tweet, and I probably should be able to provide the right reference and credit for this, but I didn't. Sorry, whomever tweeted this out. But somebody tweeted I think we have to come to the realization they were overestimating the redeeming qualities of Tatooine and need to move on. Like, yes, you totally do. Like this entire planet sucks. like we need to move on. But from the looks of the poster of the show, we'll probably talk about in a little bit. I think we're going to see a lot more Tatooine.
Yeah,
and I'm not okay with it. Tatooine is brutal.
Are you saying that from Kenobi? You're saying
Yeah,
we're going to get
exactly.
even more Tatooine?
I think we are.
I think he's going to get off Tatooine.
You hope.
I mean, let's hope he gets off.
Tatooine.
Paying a visit to Baru.
Yeah.
That was just a crazy old man.
In my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're overestimating the benefits of this planet. I think we need to move on.
Okay, now one thing that keeps coming up in this episode, or not this episode, but the season, right, is this idea that Tatooine used to have water, an ocean,
Yeah.
right? And it kind of makes you wonder: is that going to go somewhere?
No,
I don't think so.
No. It's
no,
not like some kind
I
of
think they're going the Greta Thunberg route with that one. To be honest with you.
Oh, okay. I thought they were going to go like the Dune route, where like there's going to be like a reclaiming of the sand. You know.
Oh, so George Lucas is going to rip off.
Well, I mean, they threw a Ring World. They threw a Ring World reference in the fifth episode. So that planet.
Yeah, that was Halo. That's Halo. They
Okay,
ripped off Halo for that.
but Halo ripped off Ring World. So Ring World is the science fiction book that originally the concept of this basic ring belt that exists and goes around a star. So that idea. Okay. So anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to be like
they're going to pull
here,
they're going to pull a Total Recall. They're going to pull a Total Recall, and like he has to put his hand like on a sphere, and like it melts all the.
As long as we get 3 boobed aliens,
you know, it's got to be like a what is Greedo's Rodian?
Rodian.
That's what we need. Rodian 3.
But I mean, I Cad Bane's what made me think of this whole scenario, because I think I texted you guys a few days ago or last week, when that episode aired, because like it wouldn't have been much more interesting those first few episodes where it would have just flashed forward after he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, and the New Republic, is searching for Boba Fett because they know he's alive now because he's wanted because he helped the Empire, and he was ruthless. And that would have been a much interesting storyline to follow of him on the run, but still being a ruthless bounty hunter, just killing people who did him wrong or whatever, and you could have started off like, boom, episode 1, I'm still on Tatooine. I'm going to get my shit back, and then kill Bib Fortuna, not just have him go out like a little punk, the way he did in that little bit there at the Mandalorian. Yeah, my good friend.
I get that, but do you think that there's probably some marketing at play here, right? So, but I mean, you think about what is
like a Lego set called Boba's Palace.
I mean, that could be a thing, right? You think about the potential viewing audience, right? And I would probably tell you that honestly, like, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast or if you are hosting this podcast, you're not of the masses, of the people who are watching this show casually or whichever. And they're probably not even coming close to any of the nitpicks that we're having about the show. But you have to think about, like, does Lucasfilm / Disney give a damn about going back and doing all those stories when the reality of it is this is just supplemental content for their money.
I think you bring up a point that we could almost break down the season and the different people that were behind the scenes and at play.
Exactly, because my second follow-up point to that question or to that statement, I don't know if it was even what the hell it was. This is just me rambling, but like, I remember going into, was it episode 4? Which episode did Mando come into play?
5.
Episode 5. And then,
okay, so 5.
Yeah.
So episode 5, I honestly felt that like producers somewhere at Disney we were reading Twitter and being like, man, the fanboys are pissed. Like, we got to do something. And what it felt like to me, honestly, what it truly felt like was that Disney was like, hey, let's take those first 3 episodes of next season's Mandalorian and play them now to quell the anger. Like it's like that's exactly what it felt like. I felt like I was watching 2.
So you think
shows.
that's why episode 6 had just this like little bit like, oh, we'll throw the cameo of Boba Fett to keep people knowing like what's going on.
Yeah, like because if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong, and likely I am, but
So we're only going to get like 6 episodes of The Mandalorian when it comes out because 2 are missing.
Right. Yeah, because 2 are going to be completely missing. Like they literally had no place in the book of Boba Fett at all. Like at all. Like and with clever, this is again, I could be, I'm likely completely wrong, but for me, it felt like they rough edited, rough cut Mandalorian.
I feel like at least with the last 3 episodes, though,
ease the pain of people.
I feel like with the last 3 episodes, they were definitely like headed towards a place because they wanted that reunion between Grogu and the Mandalorian to take place on Tatooine. So that was already, I think, in the books as far as like how this season was going to end out. I don't think that they could have changed some of those moving parts. Like the
Also,
idea
why is the Naboo starfighter on Tatooine at all?
There's a lot of junk on Tatooine.
Yeah, probably Spice Runners.
This series,
even crap, I'm forgetting his name. Episode 1, the flying guy. Watto. Even Watto had Naboo stuff. You would get lots of Naboo. Because I mean they're near Naboo. Tatooine's near Naboo.
You can't use that accent, man. That's racist.
I can do whatever I want.
That's pretty good. I mean,
It is pretty good.
Give the man credit. That's a pretty good Watto. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like the overall feeling of it felt like it was legitimately 2 different shows.
Well, for sure. No, I mean, like I said, this book makes no sense because like all of a sudden you're just like, wait, what? And also I think just the pacing of the first 4 episodes and some of the storylines that I felt like could have been fleshed out. Like there's one thematic aspect that they're trying to tell us here, or they're trying to set up with Boba Fett, and that's that he is turning a leaf. He's like, I'm no longer going to be the guy that's going to be stepped on or sent out to do somebody else's errands, and you know what I mean. So they want to set up the Bob father, right? The Boba father.
Even that made me a little irritable at the very end of the last episode, because when they're all bowing to him and he's like over there bitching about it, like, I don't like them bowing to me. Maybe I don't want to rule this planet. I'm like, don't you say that now? You've already gone down that road.
Yeah,
Dude,
I know.
Totally.
It's like pick a lane, dude. Like, what?
Stay there. Like
you fought for you were gonna put your name on the honor, whatever, in the name of the honor, whatever, and then this is now you're like, oh, you know what? I think Mando's got it right. I'm gonna find a weird, creepy alien and keep it around as my pet.
Like and
get a cool saber.
For lack of better terms, man, like I feel like Boba Fett turned into a little bee.
Yeah, exactly.
And like and it was just like
And
it was,
you mean that both
was,
like as the word that you're referencing, but also the fact that he's no longer capital Boba. He is little Boba.
He's and I think my biggest problem with that is like, whatever, that's fine. Like, I mean, you can write that story, but like we don't need a series about it.
Right.
like it's just you take this character that has been built up out of nothing. I mean, let's be real. The character itself of Boba Fett has just been in the minds of Star Wars fans forever, and was reignited during with the Clone Wars episode 2, right? And like you kind of get like some little bit of justification there, but there's real no like background to his character, and he's just always been this badass bounty hunter.
Right.
And
I mean, you look at what it's based on. Mostly Empire Strikes Back, and he's a guy that had Vader's respect. He's a guy that outsmarted Han. So you have like all this potential of like, who is this guy?
He's badass.
Well, he was going to be the original villain for Return of the Jedi.
Really?
Yeah, that was George Lucas's plan.
I didn't know that.
George Lucas's original plan was that Boba Fett would be the bad guy for that, and that eventually episode would it be
Like
12
Yeah.
or whatever is when Luke would actually face off against the Emperor.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, I digress.
Might have been a better story.
Well, I mean, things change all the time. I mean, we know that from Lost. Like, things have to be organic, but
Yeah.
you also have to like revive them with new characters and new life. And I think that their approach to the show, I think they could have done the book in chapters where it's just like slices of his past or flashes of his past.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have the storytelling device of a Bacta tank. You can just be like, boom, here we are. We're in a crowded, dingy like tavern, on level 1313, and it's pre A New Hope, right? And we see a young, gritty Boba Fett making his way, right? And it's just that story. And you see Cad Bane come along, and they have a showdown or whatever, and he gets his ass beat, right? Chapter 2, boom, moves it forward. We see him with the Empire, working with Vader, because that's what we wanted to see.
Right.
We see him fighting with Boss. We see him like doing all of these things. We see him getting screwed over by Jabba the Hutt to the point that when we flash forward and he's an old man and he wants to be the Bob Father, it makes sense why he's like, I'm not getting screwed over by these people anymore. I'm the guy. I'm going to make a family.
They could have made it in an anthology of Boba Fett.
They could have
Right.
had the
And
same
that's what they
person
did.
story in that.
When
but
you say
we
book,
have to get
exactly.
to that point. You
Yeah,
can't
like-
just start off with the sand person thing.
Right.
That's the boringest part.
Like it
Show
should have
us-
started off on
Show us Boba Prime. That's all I mean. That's all I
episode
need.
1's flashback.
Should have been.
Him on the clone water planet, whatever the fuck it was.
Camino.
Oh yeah,
Camino, thank you.
Yeah.
Like episode 1.
Should have been like going back to him, like seeing Django and seeing all those clones.
Django leave. Django like
Yeah.
the clones die. Like maybe we see like a bit of him like Cad Bane coming along or
Yeah.
whatever.
So
of the
then
stuff
should
is-
have been there should have been a flashback of him seeing his dad getting smoked by fucking Mace
Well, we
Windu.
did have a little bit of that flashback. I think they played a part of that, didn't they? In the first episode.
If they
It's
did
been
it,
so
it
long.
wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
But-
remember. It's funny. Like, there's a deleted scene from episode 2 where Mace Windu is actually a lot harsher to Django than what we saw on film. Because like originally, he just cuts his head off. You see like the shadow of his head go out of the helmet. But in the original cut, like he like cuts his arms off, then cuts cuts his head off. Yeah.
And then he serves him tea
Yeah.
with the bag.
And then he reads him Ezekiel,
They just could have done so much more to credit the character that has been built up in everyone's mind.
Yeah, and okay, and for Lucasfilm and Disney on this, it's a stock market with characters these days, right? You got Marvel characters. You take somebody like Iron Man, whose stock was like down. Jon Favreau completely invents him.
Yeah.
Here's a character that Jon Favreau came to, had a lot of like potential, and it's like because it doesn't take it up. It actually dropped the stock of Boba.
It did. Yeah.
Like as a character.
Yeah. I agree.
We shouldn't have that.
I agree with what you were saying. Like when I think book of Boba Fett, I'm thinking because what we got was a chapter of Boba Fett. We did not get a book,
No.
And exactly, if you would have started off, very first thing you see is him, just his hands coming out of the Sarlacc pit or whatever, and then you could do the whole back to tank thing, like
Sure.
hey, like put him in there, and then from that point on, it is like episode 1. From that point on, is him in Camino. Episode 2 is like later, and then it leads up to roughly the last few is him in present day, and then you're good to go, and then you could have gone. The sky's the limit after that.
You can even have a cameo of Fennec in one of those where she's in the background, right?
Mhm.
Like
Time out.
Yeah.
Out. Can we not overlook the fact that she's the most goddamn pointless character on the show?
No, that she wasn't the pointless one. That would be Joan Jett and the
Oh yeah, the moped gang.
the mopeds.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
But Fennec Shan's involvement in the show was like an afterthought.
her episode where he earns her trust, that was the first one amongst those that I actually was like, oh, okay, I liked this, or I liked this story between these two characters. Again, the whole thing could have been done so much better, as we've discussed here.
Yeah.
But that was one moment where I was like, okay, I'm enjoying their camaraderie, and I'm liking to see like him earning her trust.
I can't even remember that part, to be honest with you.
Because I think that's episode 4.
4.
If I remember. Yeah.
4. Yeah.
Great.
When they get the ship, you know, and you see all the like him
because
you know.
that was an exciting part. He's getting the ship. He's getting the other thing that we know that
But
he needs.
there were so many things to me that just felt off, and I blame like the director choices, because like the two that are the awesome episodes are directed by Dave Filoni and Bryce Dallas Howard. Bryce, yeah.
I always
not all gingers are the same, Chris. But yeah, exactly. And then like the guy who directed episode 4, I think also did episode 1 and the last episode.
Yeah, Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez. So. And I'm not a fan, I don't think. I think he just chooses some bad angles.
A little bit more desperate and not enough desperado.
But like my thing is how is it that Fennec Shand has a larger part in The Mandalorian than she does in Book of Boba Fett?
Right.
How is it that she knows Omega, and yet we haven't had that conversation yet?
And
did she say that?
The whole Fast and the Furious fucking
That's fine. That was what I was about to say. Yeah.
The Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and the Furious. When they're assembling her, that's what it felt like. That's
It
exactly
felt
what
like
I originally thought.
it felt like there was a chop shop for like her
This is a
Ford
chop
Mustang.
shop. Like, you just give me this cheesy over music where I just feel like I just go see Vin Diesel and him go, yeah, there we go. Add some nos in there. Yeah, like I just
since we're talking about the mods and modification.
Yeah.
Like, can we just say that they're Vespas?
We got family.
They could have made them so much more BA, right?
Those Vespas were terrible.
It's like you took something from episode 2 Coruscant and plopped it right smack dab in the middle of my Mandalorian show.
They're multicolored. It's like Power Rangers meets Vespas meets. It's just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And even in this last episode, when you see them like pinned down, like I don't care. You could all die right now. I don't care.
Yeah, they all did. I wanted them to die. I really did.
You killed the Gamorreans like nothing. And
I wanted him to go.
And I think as a Star Wars fan, I knew that they were going to take out Black Chrysanthemum.
She's like, hey, you know what? We've been running through Tatooine, and I just want to tell you, if we hide behind this 2.5-foot wall, we're gonna be good.
Yeah. We're gonna be good. Yeah. The droids are like knocking out huge sections of everything else, but that little wall there is barely penetrating it. You're like, what the heck is this? Oh, yeah, that's a just logical thing.
Oh, you just lost your mic?
Yeah, I just definitely drove this mic.
Got excited and.
I'm gonna do the show like this for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, but even like I don't know, not because I liked this last episode more than I did the first 4 episodes, but like there was things that just to me didn't make sense. It's like like you have these 2 huge droidicas or whatever you want to call them,
mm-hmm.
and like to me it felt like there needed to be at least 2 sentences of dialogue to explain how these things exist because we've never seen them before
ever.
Yeah,
we have no. For the record, we haven't seen those things in literally, as Star Wars goes, 45 years.
Yeah.
Well, these are a different version.
I know they're bigger, they're huge.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there needs to be some kind of dialogue for most of the audience to understand. Like these were experimental droidicons that were never activated, or something just to explain where they came from.
All you had to do was have the Pike Syndicate head say that there'll be no match for my Triple X droid decals.
Exactly. Yeah. And that made no sense to me. And then like one of my biggest nitpicks was just like when the people of Freetown show up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you show up on your caravan there.
Right.
And
on the ship that was in Onan Baru's like garage, basically.
Right. Yeah. You show up and then like you don't have any kind of tactical or common sense. You just show up and just like, I'm just going to drive right into the action and then we're all going to be pinned in this bottleneck. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I was like, okay.
They didn't scatter. They always ran together. Like if I'm with a group of if like we're all together.
They're a big target. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm zigging and zagging. So I learned that from Game of Thrones. So
I know. Poor Rickon. She's been bobbing and weaving, man. What the heck?
Also, so the Weequay from Freetown, who's basically like, oh, he
Right.
dead, man. Cop Van dead. He's
the guy from the Last Starfighter.
yeah. Thanks. No, Deadwood's version.
Yeah, I mean, y'all both did see the mid-credit scene, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes. So
But that was so blatantly obvious.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
because like in the prior episode in which Cad Bane shoots down and shoots his buddy 17 times, when he only shoots him once in the shoulder, you're like, okay,
right.
he's
Yeah.
clearly alive. Like, you know what I mean? However, I almost just said the F ever. In the season finale, when it's like the dynamic duo of Boba / Mando, and they're shooting that dude up on the balcony, and he starts dropping, and they then proceed to each shoot him 7 times before he hits the floor. I was like, might be the best part of this whole season. like that's the bounty hunter stuff that we wanted. Like that that whole that 30-second montage of the two of them going at it and shooting people like bing bang boom. Shit, stuff flying out their knees and elbows and whatever's, and like then the whatever
things with the wrist rockets.
Yeah, the wrist rocket. This and then by the way, why does Mando have like a Dillinger compared to
all right
else in space? Like he's out there like
well, he lost his rifle. He lost his rifle in the.
He did, but there was plenty of rifles to go around.
True.
Like everybody had a rifle that was, I felt like a musket from like the 1880s. But anyways,
especially Pelly. She has a musket.
Yeah, she's like, here you go.
Yeah.
That whole like montage of them like fighting back to back, like it was, you know, the Avengers, was actually really kind of cool, and I appreciated that because I felt like we needed some justification for having to watch this geriatric ward.
But imagine if
Boba
we had
Fett.
at least 20 minutes of that each episode.
Right.
But
it would have been great. It
and
would
they
have been
were
awesome.
good the whole time. And it led up to this.
But the thing is, though, going back to my theory, I feel like they thought, oh man, we're getting killed on Twitter. Therefore, let's bring in the first 3 episodes of Mandalorian to make things better.
How do we re-edit this stuff? I don't care what we have to do. So the Kenobi poster, you know, it dropped, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about this Kenobi poster, and of course fans are just like scouring that thing, it. Have you seen some of these things?
No.
Oh yeah. So the fact that he's holding Anakin's lightsaber in the poster.
But somebody said it was Rey's, which I'm just like, what? You photoshopped that in there. There's no way. Also, the clouds in the sky. When is it cloudy on Tatooine? Is there a storm coming?
Never. There's no rain on Tatooine.
Could be a
sandstorm. Well, why are there so many clouds in the sky in that shot?
He's on a different planet, maybe, or just or they're just trying to make the poster look cool.
No, that would be a really good misleader. Is that you think that it's Tatooine because there's 2 suns, but maybe it is.
My God, I hope not. I'm kind of sick of that damn planet. I want to move on from Tatooine. I want to go somewhere else.
He just runs into the same people that are on the set of Boba Fett. He's just like, oh hey Pelly, how you doing? She's the same age, hasn't changed at all. She's not younger. They decided not to de-age.
The mechanic's not getting out giving BJ, so Jawas around the corner.
Yeah, right.
Very hairy. Very hairy.
That was a very funny line. So, and some much needed humor.
So can we talk about her for a second, right? So, like, talk about an out of place character.
But I love her though. She
like
works.
Talk about completely out of place character for the series. Like, I get it, Mando is being introduced, the whole 9, but her character is so weird.
Yeah.
And I love her character, for the record. I think it's fantastic.
I didn't at first, but she grew on me. Yeah.
She's grown on you, right?
Yeah.
And I thought she was funny as hell. And but she comes in like a complete perpendicular to the entire series.
She does.
Like, it has
even
no
with
place
Grogu,
whatsoever.
Which kind of makes sense with the Grogu then, you know. So
right.
Do you guys think it was Luke showing up?
I wanted it to. I mean, I have a whole rant about episode 6 that.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Yeah, like, you know, I enjoyed episode 6. I thought it was great with all the cameos, especially Cad Bane and all that. But, you know, with a lot of people who did not like the sequel trilogy, including me, I felt it was a big betrayal of Luke's character, and I felt that this episode was kind of a continuation of that. In that
You just didn't like what Luke was doing?
what he was doing, yeah,
Or
because
not doing.
because I felt that they're trying to lead this down the path of where the sequels will eventually be, and because Luke, I mean, you think about it, like, what is he doing in this episode? You know, it's been 5 years roughly, or 7 years since Return of the Jedi, but it's a betrayal of Luke's character. It's also betrayal of Vader's redemption, and that, you know, Luke constantly in the original trilogy followed his passions, not the rules of the Jedi. He helped his friends. He abandoned his training to help his friends. He believed in his father and still had goodness in him, and that's what ultimately redeemed Vader, is having attachments. And so all of a sudden you have this very straight and narrow Luke giving an absolute to a child. And it's like, to me, it was a bit.
I think they were trying to go for the samurai.
No, I get, yeah, I mean, I can see that.
And I think in some ways, whether it's Filoni's decision or somebody else, but I think creatively they're saying, like, well, let's go to the heart of who the Jedi were influenced by.
But you would think he would learn, though, because I mean, that's what doomed Anakin, was being put in a position of having to make a hard choice like that. And you would think that Ghost Ben or Ghost Yoda or whatever would admit that and say, like, we were wrong in the way that we did things, and that's what led to the fall of the Republic. But no, he's going down that same dark path again. And I just didn't like it.
To just brighten up his clothes, you know. Maybe if he doesn't wear black all the time.
But what I wanted to happen, though, when you see the X-wing, I wanted Luke to come out, you know, and help them, and actually see the bond between Mando and Grogu, and say, you know, hey, he's better with you. You know, like, I can see that now. Have a little hope. He sees Boba and sees that a character can redeem himself. You know, like, and it gives him hope, because that's Luke's character, is always believing in hope. And so when you have like this very just dry Luke, I don't like it.
I mean, I'll even say this, that, like, if that's all we see of Luke,
I mean, it's fine.
Why? No, it's not.
I mean, one, it's, you know, that's
I assume we'll see more of Luke. There's no way we're not getting more.
How are we going to see more of Luke? Why would we see him again?
Why would we see him again?
You still have the Ahsoka series. You still have other things you can see him.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be more Luke at some point. Yeah. There has to be.
They're gonna milk, and I think Mark Hamill as much as they can.
And I think some of the things that you bring up, Nick, could be addressed in that. You know, like in a further continuation of that Luke storyline, like setting up the breadcrumbs. Now, the one missed opportunity that Disney, I think, didn't think through, maybe they just, I don't know, but the way Clone Wars bridged what we love about the prequels to the, you know, the actual original trilogy. Yeah, I think an animated show of Luke's, you know, Jedi Academy, and I know a lot of people won't watch animated because it's not live action, right. But there's so much more versatility and things that you can do with aliens and, like, you know, special effects. And I mean, there's so many things that they're limited by. Even Ahsoka, like, is somewhat limited by, right, you know, her outfit, you know, her physical outfit that she has to wear.
And that's the other thing. I know I bitched about this in the first couple episodes, because you know, we saw where the budget ended up going, you know, CGI Mark and a few other things that were great. But like, I felt all the aliens or other species in this series were just humans with a really crappy headset. I was like, it looked like Star Trek, like really bad Star Trek. I was like, what is this?
I don't need Star Trek Next Generation. I don't need that. So I don't need that in my Star Wars. I would rather have a better written and animated Star Wars you know, show, personally. Yeah. And that's just from, I mean, you know, even fans at the time didn't like Clone Wars, the cartoon, you know, right. But like, it just kept at it, and it kept getting
way
better, you know, by adding more and kind of filtering out all of the weakness. So maybe in the big picture of things with Star Wars TV live action, these shows, hopefully some of the bad will be watered down by a lot more good. That's so. I don't want you to lose hope, Nick, because it sounds like you're just like, screw that Luke. That's not my Luke.
Well,
So-
no. I was extremely happy to see Luke. You know, it was nice to see him again, and you know, and I felt it was fine. And as you know, you could even, like I definitely read one random person's theory about like maybe it's Ahsoka. Maybe it's Ahsoka's the reason why Luke's being so obtuse right now, because she saw the attachment of Anakin with Padme, you know, and you're like, and maybe because you know she didn't want to train Grogu because she could sense the attachment, and you're kind of like, oh, well, that's a different way of thinking about it, but you know, but she's also not a Jedi too.
I also I kind of have like a love hate of like just reading other people's stuff. Sometimes you're just like, look, you know, all of these clickbait articles of like, how did he get this Yoda's lightsaber? And I'm like,
well, that's a no brainer. I mean,
I'm like, things happen.
I mean,
man.
he
like,
was literally at Dagobah where Yoda was with his lightsaber. It's fine, you know, like it's not you don't really have to have critical thinking on that one.
Right. No, I mean, I just think like some things are just like click articles, you know. It's just like
the critical thinking is that
Did you
everyone
guys
knows
think of
that
the Seagulls song when Mark when Luke had him on his backpack. I was like, oh, it's the Seagulls. There was a great opportunity for the bad lip sync to jump in for that one, which I would be surprised if they did eventually. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Is there a potential that we're going to see Rex anywhere?
I hope so. That would be cool, but I just don't know how he's going to live.
Yeah, he'd be so old because remember they aged at twice the rate, so he would be. He was
5 years after Jedi.
So he looked like Boba Fett.
No,
Well,
he should. No, he would be older, way older than Boba.
No, I get
Boba
it.
did not age.
I'm making a joke. The fact that Boba Fett's old as shit in this comic, this entire series.
It seems like we could. I don't know. I would think that would come out in the Ahsoka series. I saw something that they start filming in April. So, when do you think we're going to get? Now we're going to get.
Well, this year's going to be interesting for Star Wars because we'll get Obi-Wan in May, and you know you're going to get Bad Batch season 2 probably in the fall. So we're going to get some.
Really? You think fall?
I think it'll be probably November. Yeah.
I don't think I actually even finished Bad Batch. Did I?
Bad Batch was good. I mean, it had some filler and some bad ones, but
I think
it was good.
I think there was 1 or 2 episodes that there was one in particular, I think, Nick, because you and I covered that I just was like, ugh, like I hated it so much. And then right after that, like the last 3 episodes were really
good,
strong. So it finished strong and definitely sets up.
I wouldn't bet on Mando season 3 until January or February of next year.
Don't tell me that. You do not tell me that.
That's what I'm betting.
Oh, why would they?
Yeah,
December. They need to.
Oh, they're gonna push it back a month, make it January.
And then I don't know if you guys read that. Like Disney is already placed holds for 3 more Star Wars movies for 2023, 25, and 27.
Movies?
Yeah, they no titles, just movies. You know, they just said that these are Star Wars movies for these dates.
Well, they have to have
2023?
Mm-hmm.
But they were working on
release.
But they were
So
working on
December 2023 would most likely be
Rogue
Squadron. Yeah,
that's
Rogue
what I was
Squadron.
going to say. And then they also have the
You have the Watiti movie.
Yeah, the
and
unnamed
then
Star Wars movie by him.
It's all the unnamed movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still no Rian Johnson trilogy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. Yeah, that's just me.
So many different rumors out there. Hard to believe of what they're going to come out with. I mean, and I feel like every Star Wars article I click on, I'm like, shit, I already knew this. This was just getting me to click on your stupid.
Exactly. That's most Star Wars articles. You're like, I already know this.
Yeah. So, the end. Some things that I did enjoy about this last episode, though, was checking off certain moments that happened. You know, you had to have like the Rancor come in, like Chris pointed out. You had to have the back-to-back fight with Boba and Mando, like going. You know, you had to have Boba riding the Rancor, but then you also had to like have this great moment with Mando and Grogu using the Force against one of the droids,
or Mando attempting to ride the Rancor,
and then Mando attempting to ride the Rancor. Yes,
I thought that was interesting because he hadn't bonded with Mando, so it's like, no, you're not him. You know?
Well, and I like how he like looked at him too, like just like, you know, nope.
It was such a Cloverfield-esque
Right.
like scene too, which I thought was kind of cool. Like you see the claw coming over, like the scale wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of shots I felt like that like when like you saw like the close up of his claw coming over the wall as he's climbing up. It was like huge, like he was like Godzilla, and like Rancors. Oh, this is gonna sound real effing nerdy. They're not that big.
Well, it's a baby Rancor.
It's a baby, yeah, and it's also a female, and they're not that big compared to the bulls.
And to that point, like, well, she was huge, like too big almost, but it's okay.
Well,
it's okay. We're all three geeks here, Chris. We're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, we are.
I still think that definitely this Christmas 2022, you can get your ornament of Grogu with the Rancor. You know,
snuggled up by the fire.
Yeah,
I just love how every time he uses the Force, he just passes out. Like it's like that's it, I'm done.
Yeah,
I've done my miracle.
I tweeted out as I was watching it. I was like, do you guys agree that might have been the hug heard or felt around the world? Like, I melted.
Now, did anyone?
I freaking melted when Grogu looks up, sees Mando, and just jumps up.
Oh,
Nick's
jumps.
Bear hug.
Yeah.
I was like,
Nick doesn't have heart.
That's true. I don't. Yeah.
Grogu's so cute.
But like maybe I've just seen too many horror films in my life. But when he actually walks to the Rancor after he makes him go to sleep and he's right next to the teeth, my whole time I was there going, that thing's just gonna go like just eat him, and I'm like, I just was expecting it, and I was like, thank God it didn't happen. Talk about viewership, just go.
So it's weird how worried I was about the Rancor, though. I mean, like of all the characters, when the Rancor was fighting the droid, and the droid like got a couple blasts in or stabs, and I was like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because he's just now been introduced. Like you can't kill the Rancor right now.
Yeah.
So here's my little beef with how that whole fight scene ended. I feel like we got ripped off a little bit because I feel like that was Grogu's fight to win.
Yeah.
Like there was an opportunity there for Grogu to show off some like, you know, Yoda episode 3 moves, right? Or episode 2?
Two.
Well,
he kind of did, like, you know, when he because he was basically a pinion or something, like, you know, he jerked it out and it hit him, and I think it kind of took the wind out of him, like, you know, because he was just focusing on one part of the droid, and it.
But I wanted him to grab the Darksaber and toss that.
That's
season 3.
We all know. I mean, like I said, you could see it coming a mile away. That, you know, Grogu is clearly the chosen Mandalorian who will rule Mandalore and unite all of them. You know.
All right, here's what's got to happen in season 3 of The Mandalorian. Mando is going to lose this Darksaber, clearly. Right?
Yeah,
like there's going to be some kind of like villain that gets it, let's say.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But somehow Grogu's going to best in battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, or Grogu will step in to take it. So I don't know. Like I just imagine there's got to be a moment in which Grogu wields the Darksaber and is riding that Rancor to reclaim Mandalore. That's right.
You know, here's another reason why I think Mandalorian season 3 is going to be delayed longer than you want to, because I think Ahsoka will come before Mando season 3. Because I think it's important that they show, like that theory that I kind of floated out there a few days ago. I really think that Barriss Offee is the one that took Grogu away to safety, but not to safety, but she saved him from Order 66. But then because she was already flirting with the dark side, she gives him to the Empire, and that's where all this begins. And that's going to be like early in the Ahsoka series, and that, you know, Barriss Offee is still alive, and there's going to be some kind of conflict her and Ahsoka. which will lead to Chris's favorite blue-skinned man.
Yeah, that would be
That's
an
my
interesting
theory.
character. I mean, if we're talking about, heroes and villains, and like, bringing in her would be a great foil for Ahsoka.
And I also think there's a potential character that could come in and be one of those like
Funny characters.
funny character, yeah, funny / like pivotal / back and forth, and that's Hondo. Like I think there's a place for Hondo. There's a place for Hondo
Sure.
in this world.
Well,
And I think the place for Hondo in this world is going to come in tandem with Ezra Bridger.
Right. Yeah. And the thing that's funny is that, I think Matt and I talked about this during some time.
Probably in many of our Rebels discussions.
Many of our Rebels discussions. Like, I hate Hondo in the Clone Wars, but I loved him in Rebels. Like I mean, every episode that Hondo's in the Clone Wars, I just basically fast forward over it. I can't stand it. But yeah, he's great though in the Rebels.
No, that is funny. That is so true. And I mean, he makes you love that Ognox can fly. So
yeah.
Yeah. And ever since Rebels ended, I've always wanted an enemy mine story between Ezra and Thrawn in a destroyed Star Destroyer that's crashed on a planet world where they're having to survive together.
Right. We've talked about this.
Yeah. That has always been my vision of like a really great story, like whether it's a comic book, a cartoon, or live action. I want that story. I want to see like them, like, because there's some interesting things, I mean, Thrawn's supremacy and his knowledge with Ezra's, force ability, and then perhaps there being still some troops, and who knows, but well, I hope that they can right some of their wrongs and maybe learn from some of their mistakes with this show. And one of the observations my wife had made, and she's kind of more of like a casual Star Wars fan, one they can throw out certain quotes but still is like learning characters. And she said this show is better when there's lots of characters to interact with each other.
Oh yeah.
And we lost Chris to the
I agree. I mean, that's one of the things that made Rebels great. Rebels to me was kind of like a remake of Firefly. And that you had all that same ensemble of the funny person, the young person that's learning, and and then that's kind of what I always pictured if they had ever made a Han Solo type show. That's what that is. They're all kind of space pirates, and that's what Rebels was, in a way.
And I know we've talked about it quite a bit. So he's back.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, he brought the boba tea.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Oh, so did someone have Nickernet?
No, I actually do know what happened. I was playing dumb. I clicked the wrong thing and definitely closed out my browser.
Okay.
Did you finish? Sorry,
With
that's for the RCAD.
Yeah,
show.
there you go.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know what else we can say about this. I know there's so much more that we can talk about Star Wars, but I think we've chewed on this baby back Rancor rib.
That's what I started to say. Like early, like when you said that, when you chose that to be the food for tonight, that was actually one of the moments that my heart sank a little bit when she said that. I was like, "Oh, we're not having a barbecue tonight." I'm like, "You want to eat the Rancor? You can't eat the Rancor." Like,
and it's a baby Rancor, so
baby,
yeah,
it was baby back ribs.
Yeah, I mean, I want Star Wars live action to grow, and I hope that we can get some better results and not just
what's
Tusken
funny.
Raider Night Dreams.
What's funny is I remember before Lucas sold, Lucas Arts or Lucasfilms, him's talking about he wanted to make Disney series, like series, but like at the time, which was like 2009 or 10, he was saying like they were at that time they were being estimated about 20 million or 22 million per episode, which is just unfathomable, for a TV show. And now because of Disney, I'm not sure what the cost of each Mandalorian episode is, but it ain't cheap.
Well, they cheaped out on the Gamorrean guard.
That's for
outfits,
sure. That's
and
true.
that's
Yeah.
why they needed to pitch him off that cliff.
Yeah.
So, but you know who they also could have killed? The mods.
Yeah. No one
Like-
needed Vespas.
Okay, here's the other one more last thing about the mods. They could have made him gritty and dirty and like lived in, like you live on Tatooine.
They're
live on a-
millennial
Oh, they're
S-heads.
they're
they're like, we
weird.
can't get
Yeah.
jobs, but we got these cool Vespas. What's up?
Yeah, there's like I said, like there's Joan Jett. There's one guy straight out of Harry Potter. I'm like, I just expect him to have a wand there, like pew, 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 and then you have the guy with the weird
The monocle.
eye, the monocle thing. I'm like, who are these people? It just looked goofy.
It doesn't. Yeah. They
Go
look
back
like
to your
they
Fast and
walked out of.
Furious.
If Cobb Vanth comes out as looking like Professor Moody, I'm gonna be pissed.
Mad Eye. It's right.
Well, he didn't get shot in the arm. He got shot in the eye.
Shoulder.
He got.
Oh, he's
Shot in the
gonna
shoulder.
be the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Okay,
So
I'm in.
He should have never given up his armor.
If you enjoy this show, and why wouldn't you? Because you've listened to us for all 51 episodes, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different patrons that make this show possible. You can send us an email at the RC. No, wait, wrong show. At theforceswelldone@gmail.com. All spelled out. theforceswelldone@gmail.com. We did have an email
Really?
from our RCAD thread, and it's actually pretty appropriate. I'm going to read it for this show and not on the RCAD. If you enjoy what we do, you can always check out the Ramblecast After Dark and get the full explicit 2-hour.
Where Matt is a huge jerk, and he gets his own due for being the way he is.
And speaking of which, we got an email, oddly enough, today from Randy. I thought this was so funny, so I'm going to read it on this show because it says, Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. He writes in, what do you call an Italian Jedi? Obi-Wan Cannoli.
Oh, Randy.
I thought it was appropriate for this show.
Hit it, Max. That was another thing we could talk about. I was really disappointed they bombed the restaurant. It's like, you can't kill her. What the heck?
They killed the most beautiful
She
Twi'lek
was
I've ever
a
seen.
smoke show.
Do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
That's-
I was not allowed to watch
that's
Flashdance.
That's Flashdance. That's Flashdance. She looks
I
great.
was-
No.
She's 58 years old and looks awesome. Yes, that's Flashdance girl. Yeah.
And they basically made the hottest Twi'lek person ever because I don't know. They're
You
not
could have
green.
told me that was Marina Baccarin. I would have no idea.
Jessica
I would've
Biel's? Is that right? Is that her name?
Jessica Biel.
No, that's
Jessica
Biel's.
Biel's-
Justin Timberlake's wife.
I'm sorry. What am I thinking of? Okay, I got to look this up now. So now I'm on my phone looking up stuff on IMDb, right? Jennifer Beals.
Jennifer Beals, yeah.
Jennifer Beals. See the J and the Beals. All right, on with the names. This is it. There's some patrons that make this show possible.
wow.
And at this point, we would like to thank them for everything that they do. As always, I try to make them Star Wars themed, and I tried to make them related to this series, the Book of Boba Fett. So today we have Tuscan Tack, Eckhart Chrysanthemum, Boba Ed, Joanne Shand, and of course, Maggie the Mandalorian. Thank you for everything that you do, for making this show possible. And thank you to the other two co-hosts for this was a great show, right?
It's one in a
One in a
million.
million. Jinx.